What do you want people to know about Poland?
I'd really like people to know that Poland isn't Russia, as obvious as it sounds. But when I first came to France, a lot of people thought that in Poland, polar bears roam the streets and we live with snow up to our necks.
I'd like to dispel the cliché that Poland is some kind of a third world country. My name is Radek. I'm 22. I study at the Chopin University of Music in Warsaw.
My name's Ania. I'm 26 years old. I come from Poland, from a small village next to Warsaw. I currently live in Paris and I'm a video maker and an aspiring singer. And I also work part-time as a waitress.
Welcome to Poland. This dynamic metropolis is its capital, Warsaw. Also known as the Phoenix City, Warsaw was reborn after being reduced to ashes during the Second World War. Today, it is a modern capital embodying post-Soviet Poland. The country's youngest generation never knew the communist era and has grown up in a country undergoing radical change.
I grew up working class. It's changing now, but you have to realize that in Poland at the time, there wasn't really a middle class. So you had wealthy people, or people like me.
My dad has his own company and business. My mom works for a local company. Typical office work.
There's a lot of addiction and alcoholism, and unfortunately that was the case for my family. It was hard to grow up in a secure, stable way in such a complicated environment. And if I decided to leave home and move to another country, it was also to escape that fate.
I come from a very loving family. We all spent a lot of time together. I have a lot of cousins, younger siblings, and we all live nearby, so we celebrated Christmas and family events together. I really like coming back to my hometown, to my friends and family. I have always felt good there.
I knew I wanted to go abroad, so I signed up on an au pair website. I knew I wanted to do this because it was my only way of going abroad, as I came from a family that wasn't very well off.
After the fall of the Soviet Union 30 years ago, Poland experienced a flourishing growth. Yet, part of Polish society argues only the elites have benefited from it. This fractured the country in two: the urban, wealthy one and a rural one, which can barely make ends meet. This division is still visible today, as seen in the ballots during the parliamentary elections of October 15th. The majority of Western Poland, wealthier and more liberal, voted for the centrist Civic Coalition, whose leader is Donald Tusk, former president of the European Council. The Civic Coalition opposed the conservative Law and Justice Party, PIS, which managed to earn votes from Eastern Poland, financially less developed and progressive. But it wasn't enough to retain a full majority in the Polish parliament. The PIS had a well-established strategy. The Catholic and traditionalist party succeeded in rallying people who felt left behind by promising them aids and welfare distribution. This is largely what paved the way for its rise to power in 2015 and 2019.
The PIS came to power in 2015, and religion became a major talking point in the country. We always talked about God at home, and that didn't necessarily bother me because that's how I grew up. But the moment when the government began making religious choices for us was the moment when I said to myself, I've got to leave.
I was raised in a Catholic family. It used to be meaningful, or maybe it wasn't, because as kids we are not fully aware of what's going on. As for today, it does not have any meaning to me. I just try to be a good person, and it does not have any connection to church or religion.
Religion was a subject we studied at school. We got marked on it. So at what point did the government get the right to mark us on whether we believe in God or not?
I think there is a huge gap. It is normal, the generational gap. Our parents were raised in times when religion was some kind of basis for life, and it had a huge impact. I just think that it could have strangled people's real views and opinions, and themselves as persons. I think that the major generational difference is that we just stopped caring what others say. We stop others from telling us what is good and what is bad.
The generational gap Radek is talking about partially explains the result of the last parliamentary election. Nearly 69% of 18 to 29-year-olds cast their vote on October 15th. This is significantly higher than the 2019 elections, when the turnout among young people was just over 46%. By turning out to vote, young people wanted to express their frustration with PIS and its nationalist, anti-LGBT, anti-immigrant and anti-European rhetoric.
I think that the majority of people voted against PIS. They opted for the coalition, because it is the party which gained a lot of young voters' support. It's not a secret that not everyone, and not too many young people, agree with what PIS represents. And I think that most of them voted for the coalition.
I voted for the coalition. It wasn't my party of choice. Even my friends who didn't vote the same way, all we really wanted was for PIS not to have a majority.
I also think that because of the huge turnout at the elections, the power changes, people can finally see it, and they just simply want a better Poland, better democracy, better and stronger nation. A nation that does not divide itself, does not hate. And I believe, and strongly want to believe, that it will change after the elections.
These election results are a kind of opportunity for my country. They're like a breath of fresh air because of everything that might happen. There's also the risk that nothing will happen. And it's a good thing in the sense that the far right, the right-wing laws and the laws that are designed to deprive us of many things are not going to go through, given that the PIS does not have a majority in Parliament.
Same-sex partnerships were among the most disputed parts of the programme of coalition leader Donald Tusk. This is a huge challenge, given that Poland passed laws amidst the most homophobic ones in the EU. Abortion was another controversial issue addressed by the coalition. Tusk promised to authorize it up to 12 weeks of pregnancy. Abortion has been forbidden in Poland for 2 years, except in cases of danger for the mother, rape or incest. At the time, the decision triggered demonstrations across the country, which still has trouble guaranteeing birth control and contraceptive rights, such as the day after pill.
There's a conscience clause, which means that the doctor, the gynecologist, has the right to prescribe the pill if it suits him, and if it doesn't go against his beliefs. This means that at the moment there are a load of doctors who don't prescribe the pill. So you can go there and ask for a prescription. They'll look at you in a condescending way. My Polish friend had to go through this. She went to 5 gynecologists before she could get the morning after pill. Then one day she asked me to bring her a morning after pill from France, because in Poland you can't really get it. Once again, it does exist, but it's even harder to get than the contraceptive pill.
The fact that such repressive measures were able to pass was due to the PIS grip on the government structure. The Civic Coalition has promised to restore independent institutions. In 8 years, the PIS installed politicians as judges at the head of the powerful Constitutional Tribunal. And it has paved the way for the party to impose its ultra-conservative measures, such as restrictions on abortions. Even the media have not escaped this influence. Public television had become a propaganda machine, regularly attacking PIS opponents. And in the cultural world, the party regularly attacked artworks it considered anti-Polish. But from the inside, Radek felt no ideological pressure.
I feel absolutely free when it comes to doing my job. I don't really do that yet. I wouldn't call myself a musical actor yet.
Obserwując to, co jest grane w teatrach, w telewizji, w filmach.
But observing how it all looks in the theatres, TVs, in the movies, there isn't any censorship which forbids us to perform as we want to. Politics doesn't have that kind of an impact on cinemas, theatres, and different shows.
Na kino, na teatry, na spektakle.
Of course, if they are controversial, they encounter different public opinions.
Opinią publiczną, ale opinią publiczną są ludzie, którzy mają różne poglądy.
But nobody goes to prison for that.
Brussels imposed several economic sanctions on Warsaw for not respecting EU laws and values.
This is the first time ever that a court of a member state finds that the EU treaties are incompatible with the national constitution.
Donald Tusk's arrival in power might ease tensions after 8 years of Eurosceptic government. Despite the political twist, young people who have grown up in a European Poland are still wondering if their country will change and how.
I'd like Poland to be a fully democratic country. I want it to be a country where people respect each other, where no one is afraid to be themselves. And I think a key solution for a country to be like that lies in us, in a society. Lately there were elections in Poland, and the turnout was record-breaking, which shows that people pursue this goal and fight for themselves.
Even if Poland becomes an idyllic country that we all want to live in, I wouldn't go back there for a very simple reason. Besides feeling Polish or feeling French, I think I feel quite simply European. I think I feel more like a citizen of the world than a citizen of any country.
I don't feel the need to move to another country and meet people there who want to find themselves abroad. Because I'm convinced that I can be fulfilled here and make my career and be myself and give myself to others. And I feel that going abroad is not necessary to feel fulfilled.
Of course I miss it. I try to go back as often as I can to see the streets I know, see my friends and family again, eat some good pierogies. I obviously miss it. There's a quote in Polish that I really like. It means that the situation in the country depends on the education of children. It depends on teenagers, on how young people see the world.